Okay, we bike. I got the homie Will Blast, and I must publicly apologize to Will because I had a list of people I wanted to bring on for hip hop discussions, and I had you on my list, and then for some odd reason, man, I don't know where the list went. And then when I see you in the chat, I was like, oh shit, wait a minute, he's on my list.
It's all love, brother. It's all
Yeah.
love.
So I can't do you enough. Do me the honor and pleasure and introduce yourself and let's get into your knowledge of hip hop from your perspective and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know even where to start, man. Like, it's been a long journey. I'm an old man. I got a face full of gray hairs now. And so, you know what I mean? So it's really been a real journey on it. But, like, I'm a person that likes to give credit where credit is due. And that's kind of been like the antithesis of my career, where I've a lot of energy I've poured into a lot of things. I haven't really gotten the credit or the just due for it. And so, it is what it is. But um, Freestyle Fellowship, Los Angeles underground, like the most legendary. Like I don't really, I don't know how to look at it. I grew up with them. And so
Okay.
AC Alone was part of my high school crew. Micah
Okay.
Nine, I've known since I was 5 years old. And so I hang with Micah Nine like I was with him yesterday. So like it's just part of who I am. Like so their hip hop legendary thing. They were nominated for a Grammy this year after 25 years. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So uh, like so I grew up with legends, you know what I mean, or like from an LA perspective or on a rap perspective, like they battled everybody from Souls of Mischief to Busta Rhymes to Saphir and Hobo Junction to everybody, you know what I mean. So like I saw rap from a different lens than most people saw it, because I was so connected, to them at a long, from before they were rapping. And so so that's kind of where my hip hop journey really starts, is with them. I was AC Alone's roommate when he put out an album called All Balls Don't Bounce on
Okay.
Capitol,
Okay.
and so from that I did some of his street promotion like for free just because he was my roommate. So that kind of sparked my energy a little bit towards that. But a couple years later, I ran into some guys that were really doing street promotion for Def Jam and everything, and so I connected with them because I was selling weed. That was the other thing too. I kind of missing out. Like I went to Humboldt State, so I was a dude with a connect in Humboldt that most people didn't have. So I would drive up I-5 and get pounds of weed and bring it down, and then that's kind of how I yeah, I liaison into
You were the plug. Oh no.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's how it all started. From my relationships with Exhibit or anyone like that and all that. Like that's where it all started, was me having this fire ass weed.
Well, let me ask you: did you guys have any idea of how big this hip hop thing was going to be, especially for you guys on the West Coast?
Well, no, I don't think anybody did. Like we loved it. Like New York was at the forefront of it, and I know my love was just genuine. I loved hip hop. Period. Like it was just I had a crate of records. You know what I mean? Just as a teenager. You know what I mean? And so I just love hip hop. Like it was just part of who I was. I was a pop locker as a kid. So like like it was just part of who I am. Like even though there wasn't rap music yet, it was it's just all the same culture. Like to me, at the end of the day. So so no, I never probably saw hip hop maybe being as big, but when Run DMC came out, and I saw Run DMC at the Sports Arena in 1984,
Okay.
1985, right, yeah, right in there with Cool J, and that was huge to me. You know what I mean? Like for it to be that big and at the arena and everything, like that was superstardom to me. So to see hip hop, go from where we were pop locking outside the building to now dudes is on stage rocking it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's a real thing to be. You can be this way, like kind of thing. Yeah, like but as far as it being as commercial as it and taking over the world like it did, never. No one. I don't think anybody saw that.
Okay. Run DMC aside, you were there at the very precipice of West Coast hip hop.
Yes.
What was the moment for you and it hit you guys and you're like, oh shit, it's we got next.
Far Side.
Okay.
for like, but you like that's from a hip hopper's perspective. But you got to understand, like we had Quik. Quik ran MTV from 1988, 89. You know what I mean? DJ Quik was MTV. And so if you tell the story correctly, yeah, Quik was before Snoop. Quik, to me, like I get in a lot of trouble when I'm having these conversations. Quik created Snoop image-wise to me. That
Okay.
like he is the predecessor of Snoop. He
Okay.
talked about smoking weed. He talked about every element that Snoop, glorified and became famous for. But really, Quik did it first. And so in the same, dynamic, but he was just a blood. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, versus being a Crip. And so, and he didn't have Dr. Dre. He was his own producer. So it was a little different dynamic. But Quik was, everything in a sense of like seeing like the culture expand like that. Of course, NWA was going. It was just a movement. Like, you could just see it. Like for us, you could see the wave of it. But I never thought like, like by the time you get to a Tupac and that kind of perspective, that it would have gotten that, that out of control. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, to have seen it, like, again, I mean, I think about it from Toddy T and Mixmaster Spade and Rodney O and Joe Cooley, which brings us today's even disses, you know what I mean? Because Metro Boomin and Future and Kendrick they used Rodney O and Joe Cooley, that beat,
That's right.
you know what I mean? Like they rapped over it. So like it all ties to me. Like, so even in 2024, you're taking it back to the 80s when, even in this common era of beefing. And so, as far as they use that beat. So so that for me is what's dope about hip hop, is that I've seen it for so long. I can tie all these things where most people don't know that's Rodney O and Joe Cooley that they rapping over. You know what I mean? And so that for me, that's a West Coast win, because Rodney O and Joe Cooley, that's Jerry Curl era of the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so for Future and them and Metro Boomin to do that, that's huge to me from a West Coast perspective. That's dope.
Do you think Quik still gets enough credit to this day? I mean, we all
Quik
mention
will
Quik.
never get the credit that he deserves for who he is. David Blake. I'll give you my quick story.
Yeah.
So there was a guy who worked radio. His name was Buys One. This is my guy. He was a Mexican dude too, and we used to talk and rag on each other. Like, he talked shit about niggas, and I talk shit about Mexicans to him. And so that was our relationship. We was that good with each other. Where that's how, like, why do Mexicans always do this, or why do niggas always do this? That was
Oh, that's
like we had
hilarious.
that kind of relationship. That was my guy.
Yeah.
But him and Quik were Ace Boone Coon though, and so because I had the fire dope, he plugged me with Quik. And so it was really Quik's sister that wanted the weed, but I took the weed over, and Quik was there. And so when I dropped off the weed, like, they called me back like 2 days later. When I came again, I took Krondon, and that's how Krondon even knows DJ Quik, is because of the weed connection of me, serving Quik's sister. And so so I have personal relationships with a lot of these people, or I had, or at a certain point in time as well. So so yeah. Anything else? Feel free. But yeah, no, I never saw hip hop, or as far as Quik, Quik will never get the credit that he deserves. He's on the Mount Rushmore of West Coast producers. It's him, it's Dr. Dre, and I've been anointing Hit Boy as of late. But yeah, when you talk about Mount Rushmores of West Coast producers, there's arguably some others, but three right now for like generations are definitely prominent for sure.
If you had to sum up what Quik started, what all would you list?
When you say started, I wouldn't necessarily, again, him creating the paradigm for Snoop is what his really is what he doesn't get like Snoop had a high top fade. You got to
That's right.
understand.
When he first came out. Yeah.
Deep cover
Deep
is high
cover.
top.
Yes.
Yes, that's high top fade. You understand? And so since that's high top fade, Quik is in the perm fully already. Like when you look at Penthouse Players, they got rollers in their hair, in the you know what I mean, in the pictures. They got rollers. They taking it to the real gangster shit. This is before Snoop did it. You know what I'm saying? This is way before. So that's what I'm trying to say, where he was really bringing the culture of pimping and play. That's where you get a Sugar Free from. You know what I mean? Again, Sugar Free is an icon, you know what I mean, from a West Coast perspective. That's quick. He lost his greatest MC, which was Mossberg. So that affected him greatly as far as him really pouring into others and things. When he lost Mossberg, that sent him a whole, you know what I mean, kind of killed a whole lane of his, because that was his artist that he really could put all, you know, from a street perspective, rock gangster shit, represent Bloods, the whole thing. Like Mossberg was supposed to be that for him, and losing Mossberg was a huge void that he was never able to fill ever again.
I'm with you. Here's why Quick is like for me, because I related more to Quick than NWA. Right.
Okay.
I was a little older when Quick came out, and we were putting perms and pressing our hair out and starter jackets and gold chains and with the hats and curl out shit. Right. So when Quick it was like, yeah, this is a vibe that we were on. So for me, you know, we could, you know, we're like, yeah, okay. And Quick was all over the country. Like, he come to all the hoods. He didn't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, he was more relatable, more down to earth, whatever. You know, MWO is like, okay, those guys, that's them, you know. But
well, see, Quick, at the end of the day, you know, you had a good time with his music. You didn't feel the impact so much of him banging. Yeah. And even when on his famous, what's the name of my hood? He blotted it out back then. He didn't say Treetop. You had to like go and like play the record in a certain kind of way to actually hear a Treetop. You know what I mean? Like, this was the history where like you had to understand, like, if he would have really put his hood out and things like that and said it overtly, he would have encountered so much more problems. He couldn't have gone anywhere. So he really had to play his being a Blood on an under when you talk about LA from a perspective, like, because it wasn't the thing to be, you know what I mean, at that time, you know what I mean? So even a Second to None, same thing, they caught a lot of flack because all the Crips would say is like, nigga, I ain't fucking with them slobs, cuz, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so that was it. Like, you know, but niggas that after they could get those that got beyond that part of it loved them. You know what I mean? Because they knew the music was party, great, feel good music. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, if you like good music, then you end up fucking with it regardless.
Okay, I love what you're talking. So help me understand. Snoop was able to basically use his Crip affiliation almost as a badge of honor, and it added to his appeal and his allure to a certain extent. Quick was not able to do so. Now, was it the timing that more people were more willing to accept gang culture, or was it the Crips? The numbers with the Crips, it was just so. It was a 3-1, 4-1 from when I remember back in the day. As far as the ratio,
probably 5-6 to 1.
Okay,
honestly, you know what I mean. Like, even more. It was like, you just like, okay, I grew up in a neighborhood that's called the Jungles in Los Angeles, and so that's a Blood neighborhood. Like, being vilified, like, you couldn't say, you can't, like, you, like, that's, it didn't matter where you were. If you said that, it was on. Yeah. Wow. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, like, he couldn't really carry it. It's not today's culture where you can carry your gangbanging like it's cool.
Yeah,
like, you
wave that flag. Yeah, right.
You could not do that. Like, it was instant problems. And so, yeah, like, you know, he did supremely well to be in that time frame to navigate it. Again, you know, his beef with MC8, you know, like, that's legendary.
Yes.
And when you talk about the beef records and stuff like that, his diss record on 8 is that, like, that's really high on the ladder for me when you're talking about going in on somebody, like, you know what I mean? Like that's really like classic shit. And he's not even like what I would call a dope MC. You know what I'm saying? Like, from a lyrical guy or something like that. You know, he's not in a Razzcazz kind of realm or something lyrically. But that record is absolutely fucking classic. You know what I mean? Line for line, bar for bar, he shit on him like no other. And so that's it is what it is. And that's no diss to 8, because I love 8 too. So, you know what I mean? I'm not picking sides or something.
No, because on the Tales from the Hood, eight fired back on him. I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm a huge 8 fan. That's what, you know what I mean. I'm driving Miss Daisy and I don't dance and all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm really CMW early days, like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So like yeah, like, and then even when he got commercial with Epic for All for the Money, like, I love that 8. You know,
That's
understand?
right.
Like, that was
Yeah.
him progressing. You know what I mean? Coming out of the hood and showing it from a different side. And so, yeah, like I said, like, I because I didn't gangbang, I don't have this thing that many people have or suffer from in Los Angeles. I got people from every perspective. You know what I mean? And so I got Crip homies, I got blood homies. So I've never had to choose a side like that technically, where I grew up in a certain area. Yeah, cool. Guilt by association, yeah. But I'm from LA. I fuck with all the perspectives of LA. You know what I mean? And so so I never looked at it like, or what wasn't, I wasn't biased towards anybody like that or anything. So.
Let me ask you, why do you think LA hip hop has not suffered the decline as New York? Because New York fell off. And I think New York is still technically has fallen and never recovered. Why has LA hip hop, West Coast hip hop, been able to survive and still thrive as opposed to the New York counterparts?
Well, I don't know that you know our demise was just later.
Okay.
I don't, you know what I mean? I just think the time period. We ran the 90s, they ran the late 80s. You know what I mean? And so they were never like, with Biggie, you know, Biggie's Ready to Die is the closest thing ever to the Chronic. And so
Okay.
that was the East Coast trying to, make a album production wise and quality wise on that kind of level sonically.
Mhm.
To me, Ready to Die was the closest thing to the Chronic or something like that. And I, I'm not I'm a West Coast aficionado, but I'm not a person that's like, anti East Coast. I love East Coast. Like, from being a mixtape dude, like, Clue is God to me. So it's like I'm I'm torn on it, like, because the Jay-Z years with Clue, like, there was nothing greater than
Whew,
that.
man.
There's nothing greater than that,
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
I'm talking about the value of the consumption. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
to have a Clue tape that just came out, that was worth so
That,
fucking much in the world,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. When you say New York fell off, or they never, like, I don't never look at it like that. It's just time periods, and certain people reach certain pinnacles of it. But because it's like, even with a Drake or something like that, like Drake is from Toronto, but he's really a Southern artist,
He has
meaning
that
that, like,
influence. Right.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, his whole foundation is Young Money, and that's a Southern brand. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
he got a fan base because of, like like Choclair is from Toronto too. Choclair could
That's right.
never get the fan base Drake could get, based upon the connection. That South thing made Drake 10 times more the monster than he would have been had he come out without that affiliation. Just
Hmm.
my personal opinion.
Hmm.
Um, but again, as far as West Coast, like I said, we have some ebbs and flows that I feel are very, disastrous. So that's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily look at it that way, where, like, New York at times, they come with some shit that we're, like I said, no one is competing with the South in the last 15 years. So it is what it is. You're gonna just have to let them have their run until their run is over, and try to figure it out, or if someone can, come and end the run. But uh, that's just what it is. The South has but you got to understand, they have the most group of melanated people all together. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So they have to push the culture. It's barely probably a million brothers left in LA. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a lot of black people out here no more. You, you understand?
Yeah.
And so that drives the culture more than anything to me. You know what I mean? Is that, but in the 90s, we had a large consumption of black people here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. We're same thing with New York. Like so many people have left, you know what I mean? And are going to keep leaving based on the conditions. So it's changing the pulse of those places. And it makes it where it's hard to produce that same energy anymore.
That's a great point. Well, what was some missteps you think were had on the West Coast hip hop's behalf?
Oh, that's a magnificent question. Yeah, this it gets into right now of what we're, you bringing me on as a guest. Um, they never embodied the change of mixtapes and the download and the new marketing dynamics of hip hop and how it changed. That's okay. So I'm the father of Los Angeles mixtapes. There was never any mixtapes in Los Angeles before me. Period. Didn't exist. Strong Arm Steady. Prior to that, the mixtapes in Los Angeles didn't exist. Not from like trying to compete with K Slade, DJ Big Mike, SNS, Doo Wop,
Right.
Touch. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who Kid in that perspective. We didn't have anything like that. So working at all the record companies for years, I understood this dynamic of like, damn, like if we had a prominent DJ that could drop a tape or drop whatever, then we could break artists. So the light bulb goes on top of the head right there, like, huh, like, and that's kind of how Strong Arm Steady, came to be, was because we were sitting at the table all the time discussing that same paradigm, like, why is it stuck? Why can't we move? So we're in a priority meeting. I don't even know if I'm in this meeting. I think I don't think I actually, or I'm on a conference call. Something. Yeah, it might have been a conference call. So Snoop was ready to drop a record. We're talking about I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. That time, okay,
Yeah.
around that time. So Snoop's ready to drop the record. Brian Turner refuses to do any drop or release, give a release date or anything until Funkmaster Flex drops the record.
Drops the record. Yeah.
When I experienced this, that's when I knew I had found a niche.
Okay.
For Los Angeles.
Okay.
And so in trying to make something that didn't exist here become an entity. Yeah. And so so I think that's LA is just really like, okay, the South gets a label of country. LA is worse than that. Like, I don't even know what to call it on how slow, ignorant, and dumb niggas are to progress on times. They like to stay behind the times. Whether it's blunts, we were the last group of people to start smoking backwoods. We're the last people to do everything. That's what I'm trying to say. Like we just a lot of backwards ass niggas out here, and you can witness it on the internet all the time by a lot of the characters that's that are representing the West Coast in popular media.
Let me the South and LA, or West Coast and the South, do have an independent mindset, an independent spirit that New York never had, I don't believe. And I said that's part of the reason why I believe, well, it's pretty obvious that why, New York doesn't like the South too much, because they embrace that spirit of independence. And
yes, and New York loves the label. I understand.
Okay.
I was on the other night when you were discussing this. So I definitely remember. And
so
that's a fact. Go ahead.
Can you expound on that from your point of view, and why do you think that still resonates? Why they're still like this today?
Oh man, my connection somehow is not coming through. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're good. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yep.
Oh man, thought we were good. We were rolling.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Let me log off and log back in.
Cool. Okay. All right. Let Will adjust for technical issues. Yo, I owe somebody who sent me a cash app. Where you at? Let me get you. Andrew, thank you for the cash app. The 15. Oh, for the great live with the Trap Witch. Yeah, shout out to the Trap Witch. Bringing her back next weekend. Bringing her back next week. I shouted. I like her spirit. Shout out to all you folks in the building. Talking this hip hop with a West Coast legend. So yeah. Shout out to everybody. Oh, yo, so I heard the Chris Brown record. Oof. He said he was doing so sweetie while she was with Quavo. Ooh, that's bad. Bad.
I'm sorry.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me, Sly?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right, where were we? I apologize, sir.
No, you're good. I know. I was saying that both the West Coast and the South had a spirit of independence outside of the labels. And I think a lot of reasons, a lot of friction between New York and the South was because the South didn't seek the labels, and pretty much New Yorkers do, and they still do to this day. Can you speak to why you think that still is?
Because it's like the validation always still goes through New York if you go through the labels.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? Who always has had the power at the labels is New York. You know what I mean? So even when you got labels out here in LA, those are just usually satellite offices for all the labels in New York.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, if you want to really get something done, you have to take a flight and go to New York.
Yep.
So that's why, because it's so convenient for them, the relationships are so much easier because it's in their backyard. Where for us, you know what I mean? How do you rub elbows with somebody that's 4,000 miles away?
Mm-hmm.
So same for the South. You know what I mean? I got to spend all this money to come up here and smooth this dude where, you know what I mean, man, I'm just, man, we finna go to strip club, man. We finna get these old crackers, man. We finna do this, man. We finna, you know what I mean? We're going to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to figure out a way to bypass that.
So let me ask you. So once you guys got the Strong Arm Steady crew together, and you guys had a mission, and you had a plan of action, and you implemented it, and then my first, I heard of the crew, and then Big Boy, and then LA Leakers. You know, so I kind of heard the progression, the different mixtape DJs come through. But for you guys, how were you received? By the West Coast, you know, was it something that they felt that they needed, or you just like a luxury to them at that point?
No, like number one, like Dr. Dre vehemently hates mixtape artists.
Okay, so, why?
So, again, you're asking the wrong person. You have to ask him. Number one. So, but this is the crazy thing. So, and that's why it's great to have these conversations, or like I rarely get to have them publicly. He hates mixtape artists, but he hired a mixtape producer to become his sound.
Make it make sense.
Because he hired DJ Khalil.
That's
and
right.
DJ Khalil is the sound of Strong Arm Steady.
Yeah.
You understand? Like the beginning. I don't care what they did, you know what I mean, after me and X were gone. That's whatever. But for the build and the creation to get us to a certain point, it was all DJ Khalil, 90%.
Right. Huh. Interesting.
Absolutely. And so if you go to, because Detox never happened. Detox is one song. Understand this. I always tell people, and people will be like, shut the fuck, like what the fuck? Detox is one song. That's you guys that understand. It's produced by DJ Khalil. It's featuring Snoop Dogg and Akon. It's one song. That's Detox. Period. You can go pull it up anytime. Everybody has heard the record. They know the record when they hear it up. But my point is saying he never did that album. That album's never coming out. It's one record. It's one single, and DJ Khalil produced it.
Let me ask you from your point of view. Now, I've had dealings with Death Row. I've had dealings with Aftermath. It always felt to me that Death Row was not about gatekeeping, and Aftermath was. That's how I saw it. That's what it felt like to me at times. Even though at the height of Death Row, you know, there's an element of danger and stuff, but they were still like
It's
open.
not, man. That's not what it is. You can't let old heads try to run the new dynamic, man. That it just doesn't work.
Oh shit.
Just doesn't fucking work. It's new energy. That's why Strong Arm Steady was something, and it was a threat or a again. Strong Arm Steady is responsible for the next 10 years of artistry. You're like, no one will tie Nipsey Hussle to the Strong Arm Steady, but if you know the inner workings, then you know Nip and Kron and Nip and Mitchie Slick. They all were in the studio all the time. Dom Kennedy is like the understudy of Kron Don. And Dom Kennedy was best friends with Nip in the sense of rap. That's why I'm saying no one looks at it or understands. These are all mixtape artists. So they're looking at us as the way to do it.
Mhm.
We are their fathers. You know what I mean? Like, but no one ever looks at it like that. But Nip wasn't a great rapper to start out. Nip learned how to rap around guys like the Strong Arm Steady. That's a fact. I'm not lying or trying to degrade Nip. I salute neighborhood Nip forever. But understanding who the foundational artists, again, from a Strong Arm Steady, you get Odd Future, the
How
collective. You know what I mean? So go ahead.
no, I hear the passion. How frustrating is it for you guys to not be mentioned as the forebearers or the precipice or one of the catalysts to one of the greatest, I don't know, eras of hip hop?
I'm a big reason for it, Sly, because of my relationship with Marvin and my relationship with Alvin. That would be Crondon and Exhibit. My relationship with them is horrible. And so that is why, because we cannot function. And so therefore we can't do media. We can't tell stories. We can't do anything because every time they call me, it turns into a horrible situation. Horrible.
What were okay? Looking back on it, where there are things where you think the Strong Arm Steady crew should have done something different? Or
This
you
is
think
it's not. There was one thing that should have been done different.
okay.
Steve Rifkin offered us $1 million, and Exhibit wouldn't take the money. Exhibit wanted $5 million, and so that is the death of Strong Arm Steady. If anybody wants to know the truth of why it happened, so one of our last conversations, second to last conversation, he told me that Strong Arm Steady is a failed entity, and I said, "You're right." I was like, because you failed to fucking take the deal when we had an opportunity to have $1 million. And so I don't understand people's logic in the world, but again, I'm in Steve Rifkin's house. He says, let me go talk to him. Let me go talk to him. So I send my guy in there who's managing us at the time because he doesn't want me in there. Because if Steve Rifkin offered $1 million anywhere near me, where's the paperwork? Send it over tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's when it's not even a question. Because I also understand that once I sign that contract, now you got to come get your project from me.
Yeah.
And so that may require a little more of greasing the palms per se. You know what I mean? Like there's a way to work this game. So we may have started out at $1 million. That $1 million could have turned into a lot more money is my point. All you have to do is sign the deal. How long has David Banner been eating from Steve Rifkin?
Too long.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. So that is where we can never. And so, yeah. So Marvin and the guys tried to move it. They connected with Talib Kweli. They tried to do the same thing. I sued them. And so because I had already had the name was already something, I had fictitious business statement. I had all the paperwork behind it. I had been sued by the Saras. That when the paperwork came, no one else accepted the lawsuit but me because we used their beat in our DVD and I hadn't paid for the beat yet.
Wow. God damn, bro. Thank you for this history lesson. I wasn't even remotely aware of all this shit. God damn.
These are factual things. Like, like I'm there the day Exhibit fires, Paul Rosenberg. You know what I mean? Like they kicked me out of the Hummer. I have to sit on the bumper of the Hummer while he fires him. You know what I mean? Like my history in this game, like I saw so much up close. I went on Eminem's first tour. I went on an all radio tour with Snoop and Badass. Again, a tour with Exhibit. That's what I'm saying. Like I've seen hip hop at its highest level. You know, so but I've also experienced it at its worst. So it is what it is. What it is.
Damn. So let's go. So we get through the late '90s. We
Anywhere.
get. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yep.
So we get to the late '90s, early 2000s. Now we're in the 2010s. Now I'll give credit to Southern hip hop all day. They kept the lights on, but I always felt like there was a degrading quality to the music.
Yeah, strip club culture.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Um, yeah, there has been no more intellectualism allowed to be pervasive or, spread throughout hip hop.
Right.
You know, so that's a difficult avenue. You're gonna have to take your entertainment how they provide it. Again, old nigga can't tell young people how they want to function, and so that this hip hop is a young person sport, and if you accept that, then like again, Nas doing his albums with Hit Boy, I'm not mad at that. I enjoy some of those songs and everything, but it's not the same as me listening to maybe Blue Bloods Clan from LA and there's some 19, 20-year-old niggas hot, fresh, getting it. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
it's a different thing, man. Like it's about that new energy. And so it ain't nothing wrong with getting old, man. Like people don't want to accept that we came from a different era of it, and it changes, and it's a dying sport. It's a dying sport, but it's not for us to say how it goes. We got it to a certain level, and we have to accept maybe that was the level we could get it to. We can't expect that maybe they wanted to even to sustain that level. They just want to get what they can get off of it, you know what I mean, for
Mhm.
their benefit, and that's up to them. We can't decide that for them, you know what I mean. Like that's up to the new generation. So um, I pick the ones I like.
Right. How should older guys phase out of hip hop, or at least artists, older artists? Like, I'm not gonna listen to Nas when he's 50. When 50, say I'm 49. I'll be 49. I'm not gonna listen to Nas when I'm 49, 50. Like, I'm just not. Let me take that back. I'm not gonna listen to his newer stuff.
I
Right.
understand what you mean. Like
Okay.
only because it's Hit Boy. See, I love Hit Boy, and so Hit Boy's beats is like woo. Like he just did a project with his dad, and yeah, it's not the highest level of rap content, but those beats slap. You know what I mean? So I gotta, I fucks with it. So same thing with Nas. Like I'll press play on it. Like it's probably not in heavy rotation or anything, but I press play on it so that I'm aware, and then I try to find one or two that I like it or whatever. And so it is what it is. But as far as it's an ego thing. Most don't want to do anything else. It's all they want to do. That's how they were able to uh, get some notoriety and maybe some success in some kind of way, and they don't want to do anything else. And so, when you got verses and the Locks and Dipset go at it, and they're all 40 plus. You know what I mean? But that it's the number one talk of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like that. That's damaging for the old heads because then they're all like, "Yeah, I want to do it. I can do it too." So that's tough, because that was that was Mike Tyson's up there on the mic that night. Everybody not Mike Tyson's on the mic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So and most people can't accept that. That's all. That everybody can't do that.
Well, how do you like where hip hop is at? Where it's going right now? These young guys, Cardi, Uzi, even Drake. I don't know who else. Travis Scott.
I,
Um,
I want to talk to you. I want to end that part about this old stuff. In 20 around 2014, I had a bunch of young cats around me. Yeah, and they didn't know about my mixtape history,
okay.
and so when they found out, they were like, "Oh, gee, like, man, what the fuck? Like, we didn't know you did all this." And I was like, "Yeah, man, like, whatever, whatever." Like, and so I come across this dude in New York. That's why when you say New York, New York always pushing the envelope. Still, they just they might not be able to get a wave of it for themselves. But there was this brother talking shit on this new dynamic called a podcast, and I got wave of this dude talking shit named Taxstone. And I was like,
Oh,
wow. I was
okay.
like, wow, this dynamic right here, I was really, really, really like, wow with it.
Okay.
And so I created my own. Same thing with mixtapes. I created the first, what I call active podcast in LA. It was called The Niggas You Love to Hate. There's still some clips up of me with producers, Mike and Keys. That was Nipsey Hussle's producers. There might be a couple others still up online. But um, my point is saying that that's another avenue. We were so far behind. Name me an LA guy No Jumper. Like, I know the nigga that got Adam 22 to and helped him start No Jumper. At its inception.
Okay.
Like, but it was at the same time I was doing mine because, like, him and my guy are angry. They were partners and they split. So my point is, like, this is all. There's only a few creatives like that try to push the envelope. Everyone else wants to make the lane created and then come behind it and capitalize. That's the Los Angeles mind state. Like, they
Okay.
don't want to build it and they'll come. They want it built already, and then they'll take a chance with it because they see someone else has succeeded off of it. But they
Gotcha.
won't step out on a limb, you know what I mean, and try to make something and create the lane. I create lanes. So that's kind of the difference between me and most from an LA perspective. But go ahead. Yes, sir. I'm hoping I'm answering your questions.
Yeah, no, 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 no. I listen. I'm so appreciative, man, because I hate that all this history and people not reaching out to you to learn this. This is crazy. Like, um,
Yeah, like,
wow.
okay, so let me take it back before we go jump fully in the 2010s and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
finish it up like that. Um, Justo, the mixtape awards, things of
Yeah,
that nature.
yeah.
Okay, so this is when it really got prominent. You know what I mean? This is when it's big, and like, okay, I'll finish the Justo thought. Justo had given Vlad the title of the West Coast Mixtape King.
I remember that.
I was infuriated. You don't understand. Uh, so some guys that I knew had a blog at the time called contrabanded.com. The guy's name is Ryan Ford. The other guy's name was Biko Baker. Biko Baker is a writer, and Ryan Ford went on to become the editor of The Source, and he now runs is the president of the Kashmir Agency, their management company. They managed Snoop and a few other artists for many years. And so Ryan did an article on me, just as you're doing. An obscure person knew about me and reached out and did an article on me. And he asked me about DJ Vlad, and I tore into DJ Vlad how he wasn't a West Coast mixtape king because he had Mobb Deep and a bunch of East Coast shit all on his tape. I was like, I don't hear no West Coast artists on his tape. I don't hear him breaking any artists. I don't hear him doing shit. All he's regurgitating is the same shit that's already out in New York and trying to repackage it and make money off of it. I was like, that's trash. That's not doing anything for the West Coast. You know what I mean? I was like, we trying to break artists out here. How do we get a new wave of artists if the mixtape lane isn't going to do that? I was like, we don't need to be promoting Mobb Deep out here. You know what I mean? I was like,
Right.
they got enough people promoting Mobb Deep. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so me and Justo had some conversations on the phone, and he came to Los Angeles. a DJ by the name of Truly Odd picked Justo up from the airport and brought him straight to me. And so that point, me and Justo was together for the next day and a half, and I was giving him a reality check on Los Angeles and West Coast rap and what was necessary. And 6 months later, Strong Arm Steady was nominated for best mixtape team and won a mixtape award at the mixtape award. So it was a fight to get acknowledgement, to get in the space, but we accomplished it on, in small levels. But I was Vlad's first adversary. Vlad came to see me after this article, and so I wanted to pull my gun and shoot Vlad. Oh no, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear
Okay.
you. Yeah.
So Vlad, yeah, because of the article, Vlad was upset that I dissed him, and so he came to see me at an exhibit studio session, and I wanted to cause a problem, but they made me chill, and so, but yeah, and so but yeah, I was Vlad's first adversary way before Rick Ross then beat him up or any of that kind of shit. Me and Vlad were we were online, going at it for sure, and even in person.
That's crazy. Because I remember
Absolutely.
I remember him as Vlad the Butcher, because he would have the naked or the half naked
Vlad the
women.
Butcher.
Yeah, he'd be in the butcher's coat and the knives, and that's what I remember him
That's
from.
him.
Oh,
That's him. That is
wow.
him from the Bay Area. Didn't break one Bay Area artist, but
Sure
from the
didn't.
Bay Area.
Sure didn't.
You understand? And so that was where that was the conundrum. I was like, I got a litany of all artists that are not commercially known on my tapes. I was like, these are the new LA tapes right here. You know what I mean? And so I was trying to create a lane for that to happen. It didn't happen until we got really to the 2010s, and then you get a Dom Kennedy, you got Problem, you got Nipsey Hussle, you got all these are all mixtape artists that all went on to national prominence. So, that's how I look at it.
How? Well, okay. So after Exhibit rejected the deal, and then I would assume you guys kind of all just kind of went your separate ways and transitioned into other things in the hip hop. Is that fair to say?
No,
Okay.
not immediately.
Okay.
We were still like, he was saying he was gonna foster some other opportunities. So
Okay.
then at the end of the day, he has us twiddling our thumbs at the end of the day, just waiting and hoping,
Okay.
and that's why I say Marvin and Jason Crondon and Phil the Agony decided to connect with Talib Kweli,
Okay.
and when he started Blacksmith, then they end up doing a deal at the same time when Jean Grey was there and all of that. They were signed to Blacksmith.
So what was, I guess, the last moment you guys together? You guys were like, okay, what we came to do.
Me and Marvin. The last time I seen Marvin was a photo shoot. We did a photo shoot. We didn't speak to each other the entire time.
Oh wow.
We took the photo shoot and we left and we never spoke. That's the last time he and I were ever in a room together.
Damn.
Yeah. Exhibit and I maintained the Exhibit like we had a radio show supposed to be on XM. We had a sponsorship with Cooper Tires for $4,500 per show.
Okay.
That was you're talking 2003, 2004. I mean 2004. You're talking this time. That's a $420,000 deal with Cooper Tires.
Yeah.
The million, the 420. Like I like when I get to counting, man, it's a lot of money.
Hey, I done bought a few Cooper tires out of Walmart. I no shame. Shit.
So we had the opportunities, but like I said, they just didn't come to fruition as they should have. And so, but yeah, Exhibit was a huge inspiration behind me doing the podcast. Because he had a radio show here in Los Angeles after he and I had, tried to do a radio show and all that. So he was calling me back around. He calls me. I go out to his studios out in Chatsworth. and hang out for a few days and whatever. And so he's more or less like, you want to check out some of my music, you want to help me with some of that. I'm like, nah, I want to fuck with the radio. You know what I mean? Like, that was what we were trying to do in the first place.
Okay.
And back then. And then he was like, and then it was like, oh, well, yeah, you could do a fill-in spot or something like that. And I was like, fill-in? Like, yeah, fuck you, nigga. Like, I'm out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's when I officially kind of cut my ties with him. And then I started my podcast. So he's on the set of Empire. This is a funny story. He's on the set of Empire, doing the Empire TV show. And he calls me one day and he's like, yo, like, why do you got me blocked on all social medias? And I'm like, what? and I ask him, why are you trying to look at my social medias? So there's this blood-sucking thing of energy, you know what I mean, and creativity and things. Again, like, he was never part of creating Strong Arm Steady. Strong Arm Steady is something he joined.
Okay.
Like, we were an entity that he joined.
Okay.
You got to understand that the dynamics of it. Strong Arm Steady is a company. As a name, I own the name, and then the rap niggas involved in it, we were all just a collective doing our thing, and he hired them as hype men. He hired Crondon and he hired Phil the Agony to be his hype men, and that's how the collective actually became a moving force or a unit.
Okay. Educate me.
He's a platinum artist at the time, so
right.
he just need hype men on stage.
Okay, educate me, because I'm speaking out of ignorance. Isn't Crondon, wasn't he just in the TV series? Or maybe I'm confusing
Yes,
him.
you did me such a favor the other day when you posted that he was playing a homosexual in that television show.
I wasn't. But
I would have never known that had you not posted it.
Okay, so because I had to make sure, like, this, I know this dude, like, this is dude, like, I remember. And okay, yeah, yeah, it was the God damn, what is the name of that damn?
I'm losing you a little bit, Sly. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm losing you a little bit.
Halo, yeah, Halo, yeah. Let's just give it a minute, y'all. Let's give it a minute. Renzo, thank you for the 2 in the cash app, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Not to worry, y'all. He'll be back. Don't worry. I got y'all's questions lined up. Yeah, Halo, y'all. He played the blind former Spartan. I was like, I know this dude.
I apologize, Sly. Like I said, I don't know why my signal is so low.
It's
but
all
I
good.
Apologize, brother.
It's all good. No, I was saying, I was watching the Halo series, and I'm like, oh, that's dude, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. And the character, I was like, oh wow, okay, I get it. That's cool. But well, let me ask you this: had Nipsey not been killed, how big would he have been? Or would Snoop had to get out the way for the Nipsey paradigm?
Nah, I'm not getting none of your question. I'm not getting none of your question. It's coming all blur. It's coming in blurry on my end.
Oh shit. Okay. Had Nipsey, you still hear me? No? Yeah. Can you hear me? Still messed up?
I'm not sure. I'm yeah.
Shoot.
Try one more time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just on where I'm at. I'm getting a low signal, low bars. I apologize, brother.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Will, you still there? Oh, I see the spinning wheel. I apologize for technical difficulties, y'all. But we gonna get it together. Worst case, I'll bring him back and we'll do a part 2 to this, because so much to unpack. I didn't know Will was He never said anything in the chat, y'all. I'ma tell I'ma tell Will like, yo, how come you never said that you was a part of this iconic group? I didn't know he was part of the Strong Arm Steady crew. I'm like, I know, I remember those guys. Yeah. That's what's up. I heard y'all got some storms out there pretty bad. Some nasty storms. So I got y'all questions lined up for them. So don't worry. Not to worry. Not to worry. Yeah, I got Devin, even though Ryan came in like 3.3 pounds over, 3 pounds heavy. But yeah, I got Devin beating Ryan unanimous. If he, he doesn't score some crazy late knockout. So it should be, somewhat entertaining fight, I believe. If Ryan doesn't quit like halfway through the fight, when he realizes he's being severely outpointed,
Can you hear me now,
Yes,
Sly?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I apologize,
No,
man.
all good. I know. I was telling everybody, how come you ain't never said, who your your history like?
Oh, you're not carrying like that, Sly. Like like it's so many other things. That's what I'm saying. Where projects that people put out that I probably created the artwork or created the logo or created the things behind. Like there's so many. So like I don't spend a lot of time in life, stressing over, trying to, I don't know, get recognition so much. Like, okay, like if you look at Wikipedia, Crondon like has smeared me on Wikipedia where he gives, Truliard the credit for being a DJ. They don't mention my name on Wikipedia or anything. Like it's so many things. So like yeah, like it's pretty, that's why I said the war is pretty, it's pretty horrible. Like I said, because I did sue Blacksmith and Kweli and them over the name, and everything. And so I sent them cease and desist and all that. Like, so that project never came out under Warner at that time because of the lawsuits and stuff, So like, the war has been a long one.
Wow. Well, I was trying to ask you, how big do you think Nipsey would have been had he not been murdered, and or would Snoop would have had to get out the way for the Nipsey paradigm to take over? Because I remember working with J Rock, and they dragged his project out for so long. And I'm telling these guys, you guys are waiting too long to release. What I'm saying, by the time they released the single, all the buzz had died from J Rock. But
and J Rock just dropped a little project a couple months ago, and that's still heavy rotation for me. So
okay,
yeah. So I fuck with J Rock heavy.
How big do you think Nipsey would have been?
That's a good question. Okay, I don't like to use people's names too much out here, but like Whack 100, he gets a lot of flack for talking about how unsuccessful Nip was as an artist per se, and or that he wasn't a star or something like that as far as a rap star.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was a celebrity, but he was like, he wasn't a rap star, like he hadn't sold units like that or anything. And so those young cats that were around me in 2014 that I was telling you about earlier when I started my podcast, they worship the ground Nip walk on. That's a generation.
Okay.
They're not even from his neighborhood or nothing. So how big he was to the rest of the world versus how big he was in LA is two different things.
Okay.
He was huge here. He was huge here. Huge. He was kind of like the Pope. He could walk around anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He could walk around anywhere. Neighborhood Nip had a green pass everywhere in Los Angeles.
Okay.
He could go. And that's hard to do as a rolling 60. That's very difficult to do.
I would imagine so.
And so that's what I mean by where, his national prominence may not have been as big, but as far as being a staple of Los Angeles, that's what was keep him in that position. Because he was just revered. They love he was the generation. He was the model of this younger generation. He was the model.
Okay.
They all looked up to him. Period.
Okay.
So
Uh,
so there's no discrediting Nip. Even if you don't think he was a great artist, there's no discrediting him on his impact. His impact is infallible.
Gotcha. Which West Coast artist do you believe didn't get the chance to kind of blow up due to lack of opportunity or poor label?
Razzcast it comes to mind immediately. Um, um,
But he had momentum. He had Soul on Ice. He had the video. Well, okay, from outside looking in, by the time I got the priority, he was already gone. But I'm outside looking in. I'm like, okay, he's everywhere. The video's playing. I hear the records.
ra- ra- like I've gotten flack for forever. I always say Razzcast is what is a black Eminem, and so
Okay.
uh, Raz Raz is dope as far as a lyrical dude. It's just he's supremely talented. He had an opportunity. I think he was on the wrong label. He was a hip hopper on a gangster label, and so
Okay. Okay.
that's really where the biggest twist is. If he was on something like Raucus, Razzcast would have been a much better, bigger entity than he is.
Okay. But
So
do do
go
you
ahead.
do you blame that solely on the label though?
No. I don't blame it. Again, a choice. Like, um, he was with Patchwork. That dude was a lineman for the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
Big Bob, and so he signed to Bob and Bob Whitfield. That's his name. He signed to Bob, and yeah, that was his choice. And Bob ended up doing a deal with Priority, and so he had to go wherever Bob went. And so that was he was stuck with that. You know what I mean? And so that was the conundrum. He wasn't a gangster artist, so that's where you get the been there, done that with Dr. Dre and Mac 10 and all that. But that wasn't really necessarily his lane of music per se. You know what I mean? That he had put out prior to that. You know what I mean? Like I'm a Rat Assassination fan. Like that
Yeah.
album is amazing to me. You know what I mean? And so but he also had an album that really kind of never it came out, but it really didn't come out how it was. Van Gogh was a very good album that we had the early advance on. But it was when he was going to jail and all that stuff. So all the turmoil was happening, and it never came to fruition how it should. That was also when Jadakiss or Alchemist sold the beat to Jadakiss, the
That's right. I
same
remember that. Okay.
yeah, same beat. And then Tidra Moses, his baby mama, ended up doing the song with Jadakiss to even make it even worse.
Oh
So
God.
you
Yes.
and his sons are rappers now called Costa Nostra.
Okay.
And they're pretty dope. They're lyrical as well, just like Pops. You know what I'm saying? So they're not gangster rappers or street culture rappers per se. They're more lyrical hip hoppers.
Okay. I would kind of want to go in a different direction.
Okay.
What do you think about rappers whose older sons succumb to gang violence? And if you look at their dads, it's like, okay, well, I
You're
hate to do
talking
this,
about
but
you're talking about Gilly. You're
Gilly
really
and there's a couple others. But let's Gilly's the most prominent one.
prominent one, right? And so
Yeah. So what's your take on that?
that's a tough one, man. You know, your your kid. How can I say this? Like okay, running backs in football. There was one recently talking, and they were asking him, "Would you let your son?" He was like, "Hell no, my son ain't playing no goddamn running back." He's like, "Not a day in his life." You know what I mean? Like, fuck no. And so that's the perspective it should be. Like, okay, if you had to go the street route, then you're supposed to be trying to make it where your son never has to touch the street. And
Right.
so, um, and so that's what it is. But I don't want to point it and place the blame at a man trying to be successful or make money in the world at that being the demise of his child or something in that sense, especially if he hasn't actually physically harmed anyone or done anything to anyone. So um, that's just a sickness amongst us, the jealousy thing and stuff, or
Okay.
the hate that we have. I don't think. Um, if that was the case, then every gangster, Ice Cube's, all his kids should be dead.
So
At
they
the end
should
of the day.
be under 24, yeah, 24/7 security, armed
You
security every
understand?
day.
Yeah, yeah. There ain't nobody talking more shit than him on this planet. So, 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 that's what I'm saying. So,
Um, when you think back on it, how much did the gang politics hurt West Coast artists, especially those that were affiliated?
yeah, no, it's still to this day.
Still
Again,
to
that's
this
what I'm
day,
saying.
yeah.
Still to this day, it doesn't. That's part of it. Again, when I did my podcast was strictly focused on obviously West Coast and LA artists, but the new artists, like, so I wasn't really regurgitating, the old heads. It was about bringing the new. I had Draco the Ruler, one of his first interviews ever. You know what I mean? It was really his second, probably interview. Um, Gina Views, she was just on a host on No Jumper. I interviewed her before she was, you know what I mean? Somebody, because it was about the next wave of people coming. Jay Worthy. Jay
Okay.
Worthy is a white cat. He raps with Larry June and all these dudes. I had Jay Worthy on the show, way before. It was about G Perico. It was
I,
about the next wave of
yeah,
artists
yeah.
that were
I like
coming.
G Perico. Yes, yeah.
Okay, you understand? It was about the next wave of Los Angeles, and so when people didn't see it, I had already saw it. There's a guy named Blast that's out there. Blast is connected to Bino Rideau. Bino Rideau, me and him had a big argument because he had to he canceled on me twice. When I was trying to have him on the show. He's my favorite artist of that era. You know what I mean? Like, he was LA's really only trap artist, what I would call like official artist. He made music like Future, but from an LA perspective. And
Okay.
so, he's dope. Again, Bino Rideau. Visually, he had great videos, everything. Yeah, he was at the forefront of the next generation. Him and Draco the Ruler had songs together that are still my favorites of this new generation, still to this day. Two of their songs, Willie Nelson. They have a song called Willie Nelson. Him and Draco the Ruler and Bino Rideau. These are all still some of my favorite records to this day because they were the epitome of what the next generation, was trying to be. They
Hmm.
had the look, they had the sound, they had the swag, they had all of it. You know what I mean? And they was bringing it. That was the 2015, 2016 to now where, again, Draco the Ruler, rest in peace, but he was just getting his due just as he died. You
That's right.
understand? But that
That's
was a
right.
5-6 year grind that I saw ahead of time. You know what I mean? And so, again, he came out on Mustard and Mustard 10 Summers and all that. So I'm not saying I'm the first person to ever touch him. I'm just saying, as far as like media and people giving him attention, I'm just one of the first people to ever be like, bro, I want to interview because I think your shit is the shit out here. And that
Hmm.
was before he was getting super street buzz. You know what I mean? So to me, that's what hip hop is about. It's about that new thing, man, that new energy. And if most of these dudes are just trying to capitalize off something and not help push the game forward. You know what I mean? And that's the horrible part of hip hop. It's you're supposed to, especially the older cats. You're supposed to see the young nigga that's hot, and you're supposed to put him in position. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But really they just want to get money off him.
Who? Okay. Well, without naming names, what entities do you believe are the gatekeepers holding these young kids back, or is it just more of a mentality? Same thing with the West Coast or
You
East
see
Coast
them on the
South.
you see them on no, you see them on social media prevalently. They have
Okay.
shows. They controversial. They beef with everybody.
Okay.
So if you're here and and you get a buzz, they're gonna come knocking at your door. So then you got a conundrum. I can't do shows here, or I gotta somehow link up or peace treaty with them in some kind of way,
Hmm.
unless you have a gang behind you. If you have your own gang behind you, that's the only thing that can protect you.
Okay.
That's the only thing. But even still, when the business comes, it's still gonna be a little bit, it's still, yeah, everybody want to want you to tap in or check in. You know.
Well, can you give me your thoughts on that? I'm a civilian all day long, but I understand, but the civilian in me just is like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Like
It
we
is the dumbest thing ever, and so it's dumb, like, gang banging, but you gang bang for a neighborhood, but that neighborhood is 88% Mexican, and so it's like, you know
yeah.
what I mean, like, you make it make sense, and so, um again, it's a you got to function here, so, and try to be out. Like, if you want to be to yourself, that's one thing, you don't have no problem. But if you
Hmm.
want to be out, you want to be seen, you want to be in the mix in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
yeah, they gonna come see you at a certain point.
Okay.
They'll come see
So,
you.
well, why do you think East Coast artists, and you know what? And I don't make light of it, but LA sends everybody home in body bags. They don't give a fuck where you're from. And I don't understand why anybody from that's not from California does not understand that. Like how many
Like,
well,
go
I
ahead. I'm
mean,
sorry.
I think about Pop Smoke. Of course, Biggie's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest, the greatest example, but there's been a few other out of towners, out of staters,
No,
and LA will pack you in ice and send you back to your mom. Why do they not understand this? What is why? There's nothing punk about LA. There's nothing punk about California. Like I tell motherfuckers, don't move out here. There ain't no punk shit out here. Just don't do it. What are your thoughts on that?
during the height of, like, the Bad Boy, Death Row beef, Puff was out here all the time,
Okay.
and so, but but when I'm working for Puff, I used to always say, how come we can't get a little satellite office? I used to ask every week, bro, like, y'all spend so much money shipping shit and everything, just have an office out here, just a little
Hmm.
small one.
Hmm.
And then they would go silent every time. But it's because if they had an office, that office was gonna get shot up.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember talking
Because
to
some
a. Oh no, you're right. I remember talking to an AR from when Def Jam had Def Jam West. It didn't last long, but they
yeah,
were
on,
so
on Sunset.
terrified. Yes, yes.
On
They
on Sunset. Yeah.
yeah, they were so terrified of the gang shit, and it's. I'm just like, I get it, but
I worked in
hey,
all these offices, Sly. I worked in all these offices, whether it's Columbia and Santa Monica, that Def Jam West
yep,
office.
yep,
That it was across the street before
yes,
it moved on to the others.
yep.
And
It
so
sure
that's what I'm trying
was.
to say.
Yeah, it was. Fuck
So I
yeah.
know
Okay.
I've been in all these offices, bro, and worked this game in that sense. But that is the worst part of, trying to function in Los Angeles is that element. You got to look at it from a social media, like Blueface and Krishan. They're celebrities. They make money from personal appearances and all these kind of things in life and sponsorships and all that. But what their the music or the things that how they function in life aren't really what you would want to align yourself with. So it's pretty difficult. But again, this is an old man talking about what some young people are out here doing to make money. So at the end of the day, I could just shut my ass up and either I want to tune in or turn it off. It's one of the two. And so,
Okay, so I,
um,
I want to speak to that. Why are you able to tune in to the young folk? Why are you not offended as opposed to your other counterparts? They may be instantly offended by the youth and the movement of the youth.
oh, because I can't be that anymore. See,
Okay,
and so I'm an old man. I'm 52 years old. I don't mind telling anybody. I'm 52 years old. And so, um being an old man, I can only revere and appreciate that youth because it's only something you get for a short period of
shorten.
time.
Yes, that's
And
right.
so it and so within that, you're not supposed to be jealous of him. You're supposed to be happy for him that he's getting to go through that glorious time of life because
Okay,
it's such a short period of time. And if you could see a young man maximize his potential during that short period of time, man, that's even greater. And you're supposed to, congratulate and salute him for being able to do it. So when I see the young out here trying to do something more than gangbang and more than, you know, where they come from. I love that, and I'm gonna support that, and I'm gonna scream from the mountaintop that, support that young man, because we need examples of that. We need those kind of brothers out here that show you a different creative direction than what the average are doing. And
Right,
so
right.
that's what we're supposed to do. That's, at
Yeah.
least that's what I think. I could be being
Um.
corny or something,
No,
but
that. Yeah.
that's just how I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. I mean, this competition thing between old and young is like it shouldn't be like this. But
It,
I. Yeah. Um. Does West Coast hip hop still run through Compton?
it has never run through Compton like that. That's a media
Okay.
create narrative. Um Yeah, I mean, Schoolboy Q's not from Compton, because Schoolboy Q's from the Hoovers.
Okay.
J Rock is really, you know what I mean. That's the Nickerson Gardens.
Because
That's
that's
like
right.
really Watts more so. Yeah, that's more Watts than it is Compton. You know what I mean? Like, so, like Tottenham, you know what I mean. They might have Compton affiliation. You know what I mean, from my conception and all them. Like, that perspective is Compton. Kendrick, yeah, Kendrick went to what's the name in Compton. So Kendrick is definitely Compton. Uh, so it, like it Dr. Dre and the history of it, Quick and all that. Yeah, like there's a lot of great artists that came from Compton, but Cocaine them was from Pasadena and all that. You know what I mean? Above the Law and all them was from Pasadena and all that. I mean, they wasn't from even from LA like that. Again, Snoop them from Long Beach. Long Beach
Right.
ain't Compton. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so that, like, it was all over the place. Nip from 60s or whatever, like Dom Kennedy from Leimert Park. You know what I mean? Like it comes yeah, Problem was from Compton, for sure. So like I said, Compton, but I've never looked at it like that, like it ran through Compton. As an LA dude, I never looked at it like that. But they produced a lot of good stuff though, for sure.
Cool. One more question before I let you get up out of here. With social
Okay.
media, new people discovering new information and even old information. So, say your story gets discovered by a crop of younger people. Do you still hold out hope that the story of you guys' crew will be told and highlighted in its proper context? Oh.
I lost you on some of that question, sir. I
Oh no, okay, no, that's
apologize.
cool. No, no problem. So with
Hold
with
on.
with social
Yeah,
media
yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
and
There you go. I got you now.
okay,
Yeah, I
so
can hear you.
with cool with social media and younger people discovering older information. So like we say, when the young guys learn your history and what you brought to the mixtape game. Are you hopeful that one day you guys' story will be told properly in its full context? You guys will get the flowers you deserve, or are you past that at this point?
Yeah, I try to keep creating,
Okay.
and so um, I try not to dwell on necessarily what I have done, and I try to look at what I can do, and so um, that's why getting into the podcast game was the next progression after mixtapes for me. Like, okay, and then clearly that became the next wave for all of hip hop. And so, and again, you got to give Combat Jack and Tax Stone the credit
Yeah.
for that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because they really are the ones who ushered in that lane, and made everybody tune in. And so, um, I would I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the strong arm steady from a level of for me personally. I know what I've done. I got a storage full of history of it,
Mm.
if I want to go through it or whatever. Being celebrated by the public for it, or something, or anything. Yeah, some years ago I was really probably frustrated and hurt by
Oh, I think I lost him. See the spinning wheel. Crap. Oh. Okay, he'll be back. He'll be back. He'll be back. Okay. He'll be back, and I'm gonna wrap this up, y'all, because I got some stuff to do. See, Mac, come on, Mac, you can't come in here kicking over the chairs and the table. Mac, come over here just kicking over shit. Hey, shout out to all the AI artists that's about to be popping in the next 6 months. Shout out to AI. AI gonna tear this just change everything. So I'll give it a couple minutes before. Nah, it's all good, bro. It's all good. Mac out here waging war against Hoteppers. Hey, Forerunner out here waging a one-man war against Hoteppers. It is. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So hopefully Will comes back and we'll get up out of here. Oh, there he is. All right. I hear you, bro.
Yeah, that's the issue. I can't really hear. You can hear me. I can't hear you. Okay,
I can hear you. I can hear you. Yep.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure why I keep having technical, but again, I apologize. But I appreciate you having me on. Like I said, yeah, telling my story. Yeah, again, I don't like it to focus just on me or my little contributions. Like I said, I try to make it where, I just contributed to the tree of West Coast hip hop. You know what I mean? And that's kind of more my thing on it. I'm just a small little piece of the branch on a big tree. And, I would like to have my name instanced on the tree, though. That is for sure. But
yeah.
but I'm not really, pressing. Like, there's writers and stuff like Soren Bakers. There's plenty of writers that I know, like, that know me, that they could write and tell the truth and do things, but they don't because of how relationships and things are. So I understand, where I just don't try to kiss ass and suck up for the attention of it,
Yeah.
But to finally, put a last on it again, he and Exhibit called me maybe about a year ago on this same subject that you're asking me about. They called me about a year ago, and Crondon won't get on the phone, so he puts Exhibit in front to do the talking because he knows I'm a little more friendlier with Exhibit than I am with him. And so, but Exhibit has warned on my energy on talking to him because I talk to him in a very negative way, and so he's warned on speaking to me as well. But Kron refuses to speak because there is nothing positive for him to say, because when I mentioned Wikipedia and certain things that he's done, it gets pretty bad.
So, do you chalk it up to ego or jealousy, envy? Oh.
One more time.
Oh no, I was asking. So, do you chalk it up to envy, jealousy, egos, or just?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
We tried it, Big Sly. But yeah, I'm a wrap up for you because I don't want to hold the show up with
cool.
the technical difficulties. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but yeah, like I said, for me, I appreciate LA hip hop. I always support it and kind of try to help steer it or guide it in a way if I can. But getting the credit for it, if I don't, I'm not gonna lose much sleep over it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really my thought. It's all love. If it happens, it happens. But it's not something I'm pushing for. Because like I said, it's a lot of bad blood between most of us, or at least me and those guys. Versus because they have seemed to been able to drink mint tulip and sit on the porch together and sing kumbaya. But I am not capable of drinking the mint tulip with them.
Okay. Will Blast, strong arm, steady cruise. Will Blast. Thank you for this.
I appreciate you having me on, Sly. Thank you, brother.
Hey, I definitely want to bring you back on for some more hip hop discussions, and I don't want this to be like the first and last time. So I definitely want to bring you back on.
I wanted to get into the Drake and the in the current little beef, because I saw it with your post earlier, and you were saying, like, I'm not big on that AI. I like push-ups a lot more than the one he just released. I like
Really?
push-ups. But I like Rick Ross diss record the most out of all of them.
Okay.
His record makes me laugh. Is how he calls Aubrey white boy. I love that record. That's awesome. So yeah. So no, push-ups for Aubrey though was a good diss record to me. I didn't like the Tupac and Snoop. I'm not feeling that. I don't like the beat. Him rapping over like a degenerate G-Funk beat is just horrible to me. Like that shouldn't happen in life. They needed a, you know what I mean? Like not Drake. He shouldn't be
Wait, you
rapping
said
over.
you called it a degenerate G-Funk beat? Oh
Yeah, that shit was trash. You know what I'm saying? That shit was absolutely trash. But
God.
but but push-ups was hard though. I fucks with push-ups.
Okay.
Push-ups, he gave out bars. It sounds like Aubrey, even if it's AI, it sounds like Aubrey. And he's talking good shit on that record. I like
Yeah.
it. He had his swag up. I fucks with that. But Rick Ross record makes me laugh though. So I like that record more than any of it. Kendrick's, I don't even know what that record is. Like the Metro Boomin Future with Kendrick over the Rodney O. I fucks with that. But
Yeah.
the other record of Kendrick's, that's like I don't know. And I'm one of those Kendrick, super supporters, but that record is not anything to talk about, or that
Okay.
record is pretty humdrum.
Wait. Okay. So, in your opinion, does Kendrick survive the '90s or the early 2000s hip hop?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you? How?
Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. This is a great conversation. Kendrick is the new Freestyle Fellowship, number one.
Okay.
What I mean by that is he's the lyrical miracles type of rapper. Okay. So number one, so he's continuing a legacy of rap that most shunned anyway.
Okay.
Okay. So most don't even understand that. So that's where I'm more kin to Kendrick than most are going to be, because I come from that lyrical kind of background.
Okay.
So he would survive Far Side Perspective, any of that. He would survive all that. Is Yeah, he would survive. Like what era you think he not early 2000s? Like you talking Game at the end of the day. At the end of Game and us. It's all. There wasn't anything else really.
I can't. I just can't see it. From 92 to 2000, I don't see it. From 2000 to 2010, I just don't see it. I honestly don't see it.
Yeah. Okay. There's nothing in. That's what I'm saying. From 2002 to 2010, there's nothing but Game. That's it. It's just because we're the ones trying to do it, but we're not it. It's Game. Game is the new entity that has entered, and he's taken over the threshold. The torch wasn't passed until he had to pass it to Kendrick.
Mm.
There wasn't anything else.
We just gonna agree to disagree on that one, bro.
Okay, tell me what artists were there. What West Coast artists were? We're talking from the West. I'm not talking about national.
Okay, so you're not talking overall West Coast wise?
Yeah. No. I'm talking about just West. Again, we're not the dominant culture in the music since. Again, Game having his run early is the first documentary is the last, like, where the entire country took notice and were like, okay, yeah, like, oh, dude is like he's causing the storm. That's the last one.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Since then, we haven't had an artist do that since then.
If you give it just from the West Coast, okay, I would say he would survive but not thrive.
2002 to 2010, and then he's had his run since 2011. So what I'm trying to tell you is I'm not really sure. Like again, Section 80 and before.
I think it's his best work, me personally.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. And that's before that's what I'm trying to say. That's 07, 08. You understand? Like, yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. He's the 2000s. We didn't do it. So if we didn't do it and we're connected to a artist and exhibit, then another platinum artist and Game comes out. There's nothing really else in the space that's, on that level. And until he comes, that's what I'm saying. Like Nip and those guys were out, but he's their daddy. He sunned all of them. You got to remember there was Glasses Malone. Malone was signed. He was signed to Columbia first before he went to Cash Money. So he had a big you know what I'm saying? So he had a big deal first. That's what I'm saying. Like it was people that had opportunities, but nobody took the throne.
Fair enough.
He took, but let me give you one more caveat with that. The reason Kendrick has the throne is because he's the only one that got a pass or the crowning from one Dr. Dre. You got to understand that. There's only one West Coast artist ever gone platinum without Dr. Dre, and that's YG. And it took 10 years for that record to go platinum, or at least 7.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you. There's never been a West Coast artist or Los Angeles artist go platinum without Dr. Dre, or beyond like a Quik or something like that in the early time. There's never been.
Sir, you are an LA West Coast hip hop historian. I would never debate you or judge you on
that. That's the greatest compliment anyone could ever give me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That because that's what I don't try to be the expert on New York. I don't try to be the expert on the South, because I'm not in those places to represent or to feel the pulse of those places all the time or consistently. But I'm from Los Angeles. I grew up in the hardest place. I got homies damn near in every set of Los Angeles. There's not a place I can't go and I'm not good. Yeah. So, and from a rap perspective, I've seen it since, again, like I said, LL Cool J and Run DMC at the sports arena since in 1984, 85. So I think I have a good grasp on how rap has transpired over the last 35, 40 years.
Okay, last question. Is hip hop dead?
Okay, two-sided answer. If you see Rolling Loud concert just a few weeks ago or a month ago, whenever it was, that's a beautiful scene.
It is.
It's wonderful. It's like, wow,
yeah,
that's amazing. You know what I mean? And that's hip hop.
Yeah.
So the interest in hip hop is very low. But hip hop as a commodity, as far as there's still nothing that other cultures want to celebrate to more than hip hop.
I got you.
So it's still the universal language for everyone.
Okay.
At the end of the day. So so it's on it's a dying sport, but it's still functioning.
Okay. True words never said. Big homie, thank you for your time and the wisdom and the gems you dropped on us today and on me. I will forever announce you.
I've been a fan of yours
I will
for
put
years.
Respect every time I see you in the chat. I will put respect on your name, sir. So they ain't got to worry about it.
I've been a fan of yours for years. I learned so much shit watching your show I have for over the years. So that's what I'm saying. It's a mutual respect for me. Like I said, like I love brothers with knowledge, like things on the occult you've taught me about, things, you know what I mean? On so many things that maybe my bars wasn't all the way up. Oh, that's another thing. Like, I want to make, if I could get this off on your show.
Yeah. Get it on. Yeah.
In the dichotomy or the diaspora of hip hop, when a person says that's a bar, that's Will Blast. Bars up, get a bar, get your bars up. Those are all Will Blast soliloquies. You know what I'm saying? Like talking about bars, that's really some strong arm steady shit. We're the first people to coin. Our first 12-inch was get your bars up. You know what I mean? That's really, and you can get the vinyl still to this day. And one last thing, Hurry Hurry is a song. It was on Saints Row, the video game. So anybody ever want to, you know what I mean, check that kind of thing or whatever, like, yeah, so I'm on video games, I'm on records, I'm on mixtapes. It's plenty of shit you can find me. I just don't promote the shit. That's all.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So my guy, I appreciate the time. Thank you again. I apologize for all the technical difficulties.
All good. We got to do this again. All good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man,
You have a
have a
good one.
beautiful day. Thanks for the
Thank you.
audience, man. Thank you again.
Thank you. One love. Thank you, big homie, big homie. Thank you.
Peace.
Peace. Goddamn history. I got damn historians on this month. I didn't even know the man was so humble. He didn't even tell me. He didn't tell me. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank you, Strong Arm Straight Steady Cruise, Will Blast. That's how he shall ever be known as that. So with that being said, I'm out of here. Thank y'all. Lively discussions. I gotta go do stuff for the house. So I'm gonna catch the rest of this Haney and Garcia fight. With that being said, y'all have a good one. Peace.